Hey guys, my name is Kevin. I'm one of the exercise specialists with the West Primary Care Network, and today we're here to talk about exercise and mental health. I have an analogy that I'm going to present to you. It's called the health tornado. A lot of the times we end up seeing people who everything was going along fine and then something happened, and whatever that event was or that change in their life, it precipitates a multitude of different factors that influence their health. So I'm going to go over something that like a change in your life that could come up and all the different things that tie in with it and how that can affect your mood and possibly lead to depression. So at the top of the awesome tornado that I have drawn here, we have an event or a life change. So maybe you changed for work, or it could be like divorce, could be a death in the family, maybe dog died or pet died. Any one of those things can lead to a variety of different stuff. So I'm going to go over how they all influence each other. So stress, poor sleep. I think we've all probably had something like that before, where if you have a stressful life event, you're up late night thinking about it, you might be ruminating about it, and leading to poor sleep. When you don't sleep well and you're stressed out, your mind's kind of distracted, we're going to have a lot less energy throughout the next day, and just generally be fatigued. You might not be thinking as clearly. Overall, if you have the choice to do certain movements or to participate in activities, quite likely you're going to say, I'm too tired, I don't have the energy to do X, Y, Z. Which thereby will lead into decreased productivity. So you're just not going to get as much stuff done. You're not working on all cylinders as well as you were before. That can lead to, like I said, decreased energy and potentially decreased interest in doing things that you like. I don't have the time to go and see my friends, or maybe you used to be part of a walking group and you don't have time or you don't have the energy to do that anymore, so you stop doing those things. Overall, for a variety of reasons, your mood will go down, might be more snippy with people. You're just not going to be as generally happy. You're not producing those, we'll call them happy hormones in your brain, that will improve your mood. Lead to start to feel hopelessness, like why is my brain like this? Why am I feeling this way? I'm fatigued, I feel trapped, I can't get out of it. Things that used to feel easy to me now feel extremely difficult. I usually use an analogy of a mountain, and you're looking up at the mountain. Because you're not as productive anymore, maybe tasks are starting to pile up. And then now you have this big long list of things you need to do, and you don't feel like you are capable of doing them. So lead to hopelessness, and then entanglement of all of these things can be feelings of depression. So I'm going to mainly focus on how exercise can improve mood, anxiety, depression. So you can see another video of why I love exercise so much. But the main reason is that when you're active, it has so many different factors. So it's going to affect your brain, it affects your blood sugars, your joints, your energy level, muscle tension, maybe headaches, blood pressure. It does so many different things from one treatment. And the treatment is movement in whichever way, shape, or form you want to do. So as exercise specialists, we get people moving more. We recommend at least 10-minute bouts of activity, so that would be like a 10-minute walk. That's about the amount of time to turn on your aerobic energy making system. It's pretty cool. If you go for like a 8 to 10-minute walk and you're walking along, you should actually feel your body change a little bit. You'll feel your heart rate go up or your blood pressure change a little bit. If you actually pay attention to it, pretty much every time I go for a walk, I can feel it. So what that is doing is that is giving you the multitude of effects of the drug of exercise. So in your brain, you're going to release more serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter. You can potentially release some endorphins, which are the feel-good hormone of the brain, and dopamine, which is the last one. So those three hormones, you can imagine they get secreted or released from activity. So if you start to associate activity is your mood boosting medication. If you're in a crappy mood, the best thing you can do is go for a 10 or 20-minute walk. And what this starts to do, because exercise has such a broad reach, when you start moving more, exercise is actually extremely good for relieving stress. It's usually the first thing to go during a stressful life period, but it is one of the best treatments for stress. The more physically tired you are at the end of the day, the better sleep you're going to have. You'll be amazed, but if you do the right amount of activity, you'll start to feel more productive. This kind of ties into mood and confidence, but especially with strength training. But when people are active and people start lifting weights or moving more, they just feel better about themselves. It's like an unexplainable thing. I had a friend, I love this analogy, and his wife came to me. His wife and him had a chat, and it was like, I want him to start exercising again. And then 3 weeks later, he's lifting weights. He comes to me, he's like, Kev, look at my pecs, look at my arms, all this stuff. And I'm just like, I didn't say this to him, but I said to his wife, he doesn't look any different to me. And she says, no, and I don't care how he looks, but he acts different. He acts confident. He acts strong. He seems like he's on top of the world, even though he doesn't really look a whole lot different. So that's kind of huge bit that's speaking to the mental health benefits on confidence, on mood, and on just how you carry yourself. And when you start to carry yourself that way, that mountain doesn't seem so big anymore. It seems achievable, and you can start to do more stuff. So it's kind of cool how all this stuff is entangled with each other. The research on it, pretty much all new research coming out is saying that exercise is just as effective as medication for the treatment of depression. For severe depression, it's recommended a combination of both medication, therapy, as well as exercise would be your ideal. But for I guess moderate depression, for less severe depression, exercise can be used as your main mode of treatment, and actually has been shown to be more effective in some cases. There's a great book that came out pretty recently called Exercise for Mood and Anxiety. It's written by Jasper Smits and Michael Otto, I believe. In their book, they researched a couple of different studies that looked at the effects of medication and psychotherapy on depression and how that compares to exercise for depression. So there's 4 groups. One of them was placebo. One of them was placebo and psychotherapy, medication and psychotherapy. The next group was supervised exercise. So people came in to exercise with a professional. And then the last one was just a home-based prescription for exercise. So the last 2 groups, the supervised exercise and the home-based prescription, the recommendation was the same. So it was 3 days per week, 45 minutes of exertion. What they suggested, or the way they set it up, was the first 10 minutes, slow, easy warm-up. So start nice and slow. 30 minutes at a higher intensity, so whether that was a fast walk or a jog if people were capable. And the last 5 minutes were just a slow cool down. So whether it was supervised or unsupervised and just recommended to do at home, the effects showed that the psychotherapy plus antidepressant group, they had a 47% relief from their depression. The supervised exercise was 45% relief, and then the unsupervised exercise was 40%, so that was the home-based exercise. So still actually quite good. In all forms, they all were pretty much equally effective at relieving people's depression. So more and more research is coming out that's really, really strongly advocating for exercise. So I guess that's what we're trying to push in the direction of. When we apply more of like a realistic principle of prescription to it, if you haven't done anything in 10 years, going up to 3 days per week of 45-minute sessions might be a bit much and might seem a bit scary. So what you could do, if we're talking about smart goal setting, is set a goal that's achievable. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-framed is what SMART stands for. You want to set a goal that seems achievable for you. So maybe the first week that you do, 10-minute warm-up, 10 minutes fast, and then a 5-minute cool down. And then the next week you do 10 minutes warm up, 15 minutes fast, and a 5-minute cool down. At the end of the day, what we're trying to get you up to is 150 minutes per week of that aerobic exercise. So in the study, 3 times 45 minutes, they're doing 135 minutes per week. 150 is kind of the gold standard that you want to work up to getting. So yeah, that's basically what the research says is exercise is pretty much just as effective as medication and psychotherapy. Anxiety, we already talked about confidence, but in terms of anxiety, exercise, the symptoms of exercise are very similar to the symptoms of anxiety. So that would be things like increased heart rate, sweaty, increased breathing rate, muscle tension, just kind of overall feeling warmer, increased body temperature. All those things, when people exercise and they get used to the symptoms, like those symptoms, when their anxiety comes on, they feel more under control of them. That's kind of the explanation that they went over in the book. So overall, exercise is one of your best management tools for managing anxiety as well. So next is SMART goals. So if we're gonna do this, then setting SMART goals is something that we wanna think about. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-oriented. So SMART goals, so set something specific. It's really good idea to write down your goals and review them weekly. Set a goal for this week if you can have someone to follow up with, whether an exercise professional or just a friend. Have somebody to be accountable to. That's a big win, and it really helps people stay on target. Finally, make it fun. If you can make it fun, it's way more likely to happen. So in the book, he was talking about, he was reading the Girl on a Train series, and he loved listening to this book, and he would only let himself listen to the book when he was walking. So that's just an idea. Listen to an audiobook, listen to your favorite podcast, listen to music when you go to exercise. Just spend some time in the outdoors if possible. And then maybe go for a walk with a buddy or a friend. If it's during COVID, keep your social distance, but still interacting with people is great, and then other people to keep you accountable is another good thing too. So I guess the main bit of this message is that exercise affects so many different things in your mood, and if you're not active when you're depressed, then it's gonna basically continue to tornado and snowball. If we can change your activity, then that will start to affect many different factors as seen on the board here. Okay, and then most importantly, make it fun. Okay, my name is Kevin. Feel free to reach out to any exercise specialist if you're linked with the primary care network. And this has been Exercise for Depression and Mood.